Hey, y'all. Thanks for stopping by. So, with the election about 3 weeks away, both candidates are on the campaign trail, giving their best efforts to sort of sway people to their side. And the rhetoric from both sides, I would say, is starting to drift apart. We keep getting told that we should tone down the rhetoric, that we should be calmer and kinder to people, that we should reach out. And I do agree that within your community, you should always try and reach out to people. You should try and be as friendly as you can on an interpersonal level. In this political scheme, you have one side, the Democrats, saying that they're going to have a Republican in their cabinet to help make choices. Kamala Harris has made that campaign promise, and a lot of people got upset with that. I even made a joke that that does kind of suck because considering what Republicans have offered us, it doesn't really seem like a good deal. But there are ramifications to that. Her saying that got her on the front page of an Arizona newspaper, which, while that is a pretty red state, the McCains are from there. And with the stuff that Donald Trump has said about John McCain in the past, and with the vocal support from his daughter to the Democratic Party, I think that will make some waves on Election Day. But regardless of all this, we're talking about violent rhetoric. And Donald Trump has been on the trail ramping it up a lot. Recently, he had a Fox News interview where he talked about the troubles that will happen on Election Day, or presumed troubles, and used a pretty disturbing phrase. It's about a minute long excerpt from the interview. We can watch it together now.
Let's remember, you've got 50,000 Chinese nationals in this country in the last couple of years.
Yeah.
You have people on the terrorist watch list, 350 in the last couple of years. You got, like you said, 13,000 murderers and 15,000 rapists.
Right.
What are you expecting? Joe Biden said he doesn't think it's going to be a peaceful election day.
Well, he doesn't have any idea what's happening in all fairness. He spends most of his day sleeping. I think the bigger problem is the enemy from within, not even the people that have come in and destroying our country. By the way, totally destroying our country. The towns, the villages, they're being inundated. But I don't think they're the problem in terms of election day. I think the bigger problem are the people from within. We have some very bad people. We have some sick people, radical left lunatics. And I think they're and it should be very easily handled by, if necessary, by National Guard, or if really necessary, by the military, because they can't let that happen.
This is, in my opinion, Trump's greatest weakness. Some people love this about him, that he talks off the cuff and he just says whatever's on his mind. He can't stick to consistent messaging and phrasing. But it really does show your hand when you use this sort of language. The enemy within, referring to using the military to squash your political dissidents, referring to leftists specifically. And that's not to say that obviously you have opposition when you're in politics. In America, it's a majority two-party system. We, of course, do have third-party choices that you can have, but largely people fall into that sort of duopoly. And like with any Team Red and Team Blue sort of situation, whether it's the real world, whether it's a video game, you're going to have enemies, rivals, people who are not on your side. But to specifically refer to your fellow countrymen as enemies, the enemy within, at that, I'm not surprised at Trump using this sort of language at all, but the specific phrasing is disturbing to me. Some people will say that the Democrats have constantly attacked Trump, referred to him as a fascist, referred to him as, Hitlerian and stuff like that, but I would say those insults have been reserved to Trump himself. And not just from people on the Democratic Party, not just from people who consider themselves politically left, but from his own party. His own cabinet, his own vice presidential running mate have referred to him as fascistic, have referred to him as Hitlerian. So obviously there's some truth to it if it's people from your own team saying it as well. But I've never seen Democrats refer to the broader electorate, the common Republican voting base, as the enemy within. One side is pretty good about watching their rhetoric. One side is not. And when it comes to Kamala Harris choosing a Republican to be in her party, while I do understand bipartisanship, I really hope that the results of this election cause a schism within the GOP. At this point, it is Trump's party. He's the one who's in command of it. He's the one who people are falling behind, and that's a problem. That is a huge issue for America and the world at large, to have such an egocentric man running a major party. If he was a Green Party candidate or if he was an American Libertarian Party candidate, this wouldn't be an issue. But the fact of the matter is, he is leading one of the larger voting bases in this country. And if allowed in power, I have to trust him to do the things that he says he's going to do, which is use the military to squash political dissidents. I'm sure over the coming weeks we'll hear him say more outrageous things, and maybe that'll be a wake up call for more people. But in the meantime, for people on my end of the political spectrum and for people who are maybe farther left than me, considering not participating in the upcoming election, maybe look at this as an eye opener. We can go back to squabbling amongst each other about who's the better leftist after this is done. I think we should take what he's saying seriously about what he wants to do to people like you and me. But I guess until the next time he gives an interview where he tells us exactly what he feels and thinks, y'all try to have a good day.